Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I can share some knowledge with you all today. Really excited to be here. And today, I wanted to speak to you all about kind of the 3 essentials for success when finding your first customer. Because when I started this journey back in 2017, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was this high school student working in sciences, taking IB courses, and my co-founder, my best friend that I grew up with, was like, "Hey, you want to start a company?" I said, "Sure, why not? Let's do it." Fast forward to today. What Aview is today is we are a global content management platform. What that means is we allow content creators and large enterprise companies to expand internationally. And we do this through translations, transcriptions, dubbing, editing, cultural sensitivity filters, essentially adapting your content for international markets. Some of the traction that we've had today, we've had our fair share of content creators that we've been able to work with. But what we're most proud of is some of the metrics that we've been able to achieve. In particular, over 100 million content creator reach, been able to generate over 500 million international views from our translations and our dubbing, as well as have gained over 10 million international subscribers for our channels that we've launched. Some of the creators that we've worked with and still do work with, you might recognize some of them: Logan Paul, Yes Theory, What If, and Mark Rober. Now you might be wondering, okay, so you guys must have had some insane website or insane product when you first launched this company to get these creators. Well, this is what it looked like. This is what we showed Logan Paul and all these other creators. Can you even read that? Because I sure can't. We're called Web Translators International. We look like some scam company. I think the only thing we actually maintain from today of web translators is a little INT in our email, aviewint.com. This is what I looked like back then, and this is what my co-founder looked like back then. In fact, this was a photo taken from our grade 12 prom. Yeah. So how did these 2 kids sell some of the largest content creators and enterprise companies at the time? Well, there was no such thing as video calls. I'm just kidding. Okay, so what did we do and what did we learn and what do we still do to today to acquire some of these big time content creators? Well, number 1 is all about understanding your target market. Now, everyone in this room has probably heard this. You have to understand your target market, but what does that actually mean? Well, the 3 things that we really honed in on. The first one is becoming obsessed. And when I say obsessed, I mean literally obsessed with the content creators that we work with, to the point where we were actively engaging in their comment section. I mean, I just had an entire conversation with a Twitch streamer online with 5,000 viewers because I just showed interest in their video. And we had a great conversation about it. We had to understand every single possible alternative that content creator, that enterprise could have used. Every single one of them. I took the GO train here today from Hamilton. My alternative, Uber, ran if I wanted to, could have biked, right? Understanding every single alternative as to where we are positioned in the market and where they're positioned in the market. Next is consistently validating the market with customers. So many times when we launched this company, we were so focused in on our own intuition. Oh, you know what? Logan might like that. Yes Theory might like this. Well, you know what? We just asked them, and then they told us what they wanted. And that's actually something that we do today so frequently, where we have such an engagement with our audience, with our customers, where we literally ask them what they want and we build it for them. Next is all around iterating quickly based off feedback. So kind of continuing based off of what I was saying, what are the 3 things that we had to focus in on? Number 1 is establishing this idea of a feedback loop. Okay, we have this conversation with Logan or with Yes Theory or with any of these creators. What did they say? Where is that in our product development timeline? Are there any other creators that have the same problem? And can we apply this really quickly? Well, that's when I talk to my engineering team and I say to them, we need to do this today. And then they get really mad at me and we have a big conversation about it. But again, understanding this entire feedback loop is such an important part of this entire process. Continuing on to that, we have a culture of agility. I mean, you have to iterate so quickly and flexible with what you're developing, what you're building. So many times we thought we were building the right direction until we have actually communicated with our customers and realized, oh wait, none of this makes sense and we just need to talk to them a little bit more. And so adapting everything that we've built creating those additional versions, and then testing it with the audience that's actually going to be using it. It seems like common sense, but as a founder, we often keep going through our own intuition and keep making our own assumptions. And as soon as you eliminate that aspect and decide based off the feedback you're getting, all the answers come a lot quicker. The last thing that focus in on was about this idea of making data-driven decisions based off KPIs. This is something that we learned a lot during Techstars, actually, where every week we would talk about our KPIs for the week, and everyone in the cohort talked about them. And this actually got us into the rhythm of mapping what are our 3 to 4 strong KPIs on sales, marketing, operations. Are we achieving them? Are we not achieving them? And how are our customers impacted by our own KPIs? The last thing I want to talk about is this idea of value relationship building. Well, you're all here already, which you guys are all doing this, which is great. But the first thing that I want to focus in on is personalizing interactions. How many here have heard this idea of like, you just got to blast emails out to as many people as possible with this generic same line with the same, I got an email that even said insert name here. Like they just forgot to put my name. That's fine. I got my attention. I replied to it with my name. But I would say today what we're doing is we're personalizing to a level of literally we've consumed your content. We're part of your audience. We're part of your community. Here's what we've learned. Here's how our product will help you. And every single person we've sent that personalized email to has opened it and has been open to a conversation. It works, right? And when we sequence these 7 emails across 2 months and just blast it off to a bunch of people as if we were trying to, we'd barely get any open rates. So personalize that interaction. The next thing is about prioritizing trust and transparency. Today, you're going to find a lot of companies in your space, a lot of competitors that are not actually trying to solve the problem that you all might be solving. They're just trying to build a company and try to get a customer for the sake of getting customers. So differentiate yourself truly by this level of transparency and trust that you build with your customers themselves. I mean, when we go on to these conversations with any of our customers, we actually understand them. We try to look as deeply into them from their LinkedIn, from their content, to understand who they are as a person. Not just them as a customer, but them as a person. And that helped 10 times throughout this entire experience. And the last thing I want to talk about today is about this idea of retention. I think as a founder, we're so caught up in this idea of sell, 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 sell. But then what happens after month 2? What happens after month 3? What happens after month 4? Are they still there? Are they still part of your company, or are they gone? And one thing that we hone in on, in fact, my co-founder, what he does all day is just customer retention, to the point where they have his phone number. If they need access to someone, they can call him and they can get a solution right then and there. And that's a level of transparency and trust that we've built with our creators, with our enterprises, and they all really appreciate it. So that's everything I have for you all today. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you so much.
Questions? Jason's taking his own mic. So, what, is there a specific type of customer or influencer you're trying to target now? Because there's a lot of different creators out there.
Yeah. So when we first started the company, we were trying to target creators that we watched, the people that we followed. And that just so happened to be the creators that had around 300,000 subscribers, generating about 150,000 average views per video, that had a piece of content that didn't have a short life cycle. So people would consistently consume that content whenever. It's really, that's something that we look into. But what we noticed lately is this whole ed tech scene really start to blow up. And we've seen courses, we've seen modules, we've seen every company try to launch different training platforms. And we thought that's a huge opportunity. So without giving too much away, we are in conversations with a very large board game company. Well, it's an online company now, but they initially started off as a board game company. And you might notice, or you might know some of the main grandmasters that play that game. So I'll leave it at that.
He's really trying to tell us what it is. Yeah.
Sorry, give me a second. Hold on. Hi. So it was really interesting hearing about how you do deep research into cultures and what they're kind of into. And I was curious, what is your typical process kind of analyzing and understanding what's okay and what's not okay within a culture? And which culture for you guys was the most difficult to break into or to understand?
So culture, as in like a literal culture, or
Like a group of like a group of people, like not necessarily just nationality, like but
Okay.
a I don't know, a diaspora of a
Okay.
certain language
Yeah.
or
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So I think for us is, one thing we have to learn really quickly is that every language, every audience, every genre of content is very nuanced in its own ways. So what we found to be the most difficult ones to actually get involved with were lifestyle content creators that were focusing in on like typically Middle Eastern to Hindi languages. And the reason why we found that so difficult was because those are the individuals of lifestyle creators, those vloggers that are putting everything out there every single day consistently. And they have a really big wall in front of them. So to break through to that, you have to build that trust. You have to build that relationship with them initially. And then plus the languages additionally, those are literally really tough to transliterate and translate into while keeping context, especially if they're making jokes, etc.
One last question.
It's actually two questions that I have. Yeah. Ali, so one questions. Like you said it back in 2017, did you do any pivots in terms of the idea that you have over the years? And kind of related to that, with the rise of Gen AI starting 2022, how would that impact your product or your direction from product? No, that's all.
Yeah, for sure. Really good questions. So when we first started in 2017, this was a purely subtitling play. I mean, we didn't have any technology. We didn't know how to make a website, right? So there's like literally nothing else involved in that other than myself, my co-founder, like 60 translators from all around the world, and the content creators. And we would essentially be the middlemen towards that entire process. And that's when we were able to get all these initial content creators. There was a small period of time where we stopped the company to go off to university. Then the pandemic hit. I kind of stopped university, started another company in the meantime, and then came back to this. So I learned a lot in the media space from that period. On your second point of Gen AI, everything we're doing now is really driven through AI. I mean, there isn't much that we're doing with human intervention unless a content creator really specifies humans in the loop from a dubbing perspective. But we've been able to develop a pretty cool piece of technology that allows us to dub, edit, and culturally modify the content accordingly. So it happens pretty seamlessly.
Thank you. Can we get a round of applause?